Anyone remember that awesome adventure that gave us a huge insight into the skeleton curse and its origins? No? Well, you probably missed it. Huh. Well, at least we have Flame Heart. Oh. Wait. Oh. Hey you beautiful buccaneers, Falcore here. So for those who don't know, I consider myself a sort of Sea of Thieves cartographer. No, honestly, it's quite sad the lengths I go to discover any world changes. I hold an extensive array of screenshots from around the world of Sea of Thieves at pinnacle locations, and scour these locations with a fine toothpick each update to discover if something has changed. Some of the time it does, like an entirely new outpost. Other times it's something small, like a pointless palm tree. But often the smallest change to the landscape can mean something big. Take this barrel as an example. This barrel appeared shortly after the release of Umbra's station here at Lagoon of Whispers. It just sprung up out of nowhere. But later, after a few updates, it was actually an interchangeable asset emplacement for our beloved Duke. A hand-in location for an event shortly before the release of Pirate's Life. So this barrel is actually Duke. Ever wondered where Duke went? He's been barrel tucking for 3 years. But unfortunately, we've been sitting on the biggest dry spell of storytelling this game has had since its initial release, until I noticed something in this update that was new. Well, I say new. Whilst diving to a sunken temple, I noticed this glowing talisman in the water, which could be interacted with. It was exciting, but my excitement was soon met with disappointment, as this wasn't new, but rather revived from the old adventure, The Siren's Prize. But these aren't the only things to make a reappearance in this update. Tasha's cursed cannonball, gifted to her by the Dark Brethren, has also made a return, back in its cup holder at Ancient Spire. The Siren's Prize, Rogue Legacy, and the Secret Wilds are all connected to the Briggsy storyline, and her findings within the stars and her search for this ancient temple and the cure for the skeleton curse. And all of a sudden, all of the assets used for each of these adventures have come back to the game, alongside some new dialogue from Tasha explaining something we already knew, but in more detail, that the siren skulls Briggsy is after are being used to open a temple in the Sea of the Damned. A temple that has two choices that lead to the same result on the opposite sides of the coin: the fortitude to live forever, or the curse to become undead. This is what Briggsy was after, to cure her of her skeletal curse, but now the Dark Brethren are also after this temple. For what reason, we don't know, but we do know that there is something locked away at this temple, a monster that cannot be set free. Now keep in mind that these are pictures of a child that was told stories by a word weaver, and the word monster can instill fear into a child, so obviously the picture portrayed here is simply the imagination of a child, and not necessarily a detailed depiction of what this monster looks like. But Briggsy knew what it was, and knew that it could not be released at all costs.
We're looking for a story that leads us to the skeleton curse and its cure. This is the beginning of that story.
During the adventure The Secret Wilds, Briggsy's phantom slowly starts to become self-aware, partly due to Madame Olivia imbuing Briggsy's mask with what little essence was left from her skull, but also due to the meddling of the Dark Brethren in the Sea of the Damned. For some reason, Briggsy returned as a ghost. Is it really her, or did we witness the creation of a phantom, a memory of her living form? Either way, she has the memories of Briggsy, and during her ramblings of the constellation she discovered, she was able to piece together what they all meant. Together with the stories told on the talismans within the sunken shrines, we can pretty much paint the picture of what happened. The ancients discovered the Sea of the Damned. It called to them in their dreams. They discovered that it wasn't necessarily a land of the dead, but an astral plane, with the ability to shape one's memories into reality, which was of great benefit for those who were kind or pure in nature, the ability to create a literal paradise to live forever. However, not ideal for those with a wicked nature. People with darkness in their hearts could create all manner of horrors. So it appears as though a test was constructed to test the will of the ancients. Those who passed were granted access to their Sea of Tribute, as they call it, and those who failed were banished, cursed, and evicted back to the Sea of Thieves to live their undead lives as a skeleton and act as a sort of guardian of the lands, fending off anyone who came after them from discovering their secrets and a land of paradise in the Sea of the Damned. However, it appears that a member close to the king, an envoy, or perhaps even the queen, had other ideas and attempted to bend the will of the king and the prince to follow her agenda.
A black widow spider. Reckon she's a weaver of webs too. And that means lies and intrigues. A woman close to the king. An advisor, or perhaps his queen? No doubt she led him astray somehow.
We don't know what this agenda was, but we know it wasn't pleasant. The monster that is depicted in Tasha's journal appears to have 3 heads, and with 3 villains talked about in Briggsy's findings, it makes me wonder if what's locked behind this temple isn't actually a monster, but the royalty of the ancients, locked away by its people to ensure that the Sea of Tribute does not become tainted. Although Briggsy's agenda is to find a cure for the skeleton plague, no longer for her, but now for her friend Tasha, who has also been cursed, the Dark Brethren who have enlisted Briggsy to escort them to this temple have another reason to find its location. And now with the powers of Flameheart rising within the Sea of Thieves, a trio of allies for the Dark Brethren would be most welcome, sharing a similar ideology to the Dark Brethren. If this storyline continues in 2024, are we going to see the introduction of not 1, but 3 more villains within the Sea of Thieves? Unless, of course, that monster was already released. Oh, no. Oh, don't say that's true. If you don't hit the subscribe button, then it's gonna come true. Mark my words. I can make it happen. Twitch drops this Friday, everybody. Look at those. You're probably going to complain about them, but there you go. I'm going to be live streaming, so just take that. Thanks for watching, peeps. Before I go, I just want to shout out the wonderful people over at Apex Gaming PCs. They have been a sponsor for the channel and the hardware behind the channel's production for a long time now. They offer some great builds for people who haven't got the foggiest how to build a custom setup. You can either pick from a bespoke line that will tell you the sort of games you can play in HD, or you can do a little research of your own and craft your very own rig. Plus, if you use code Falcore at checkout, you can save some cash, and all links are down below. But until next time, calm seas and wind in your sails. Peace!